Jeff Todd from MLB Trade Rumors here. Today's Thursday, February 13th. Let's get you caught up. The one-year rental agreement between the Braves and lefty Cole Hamels is off to a bit of an inauspicious start. The accomplished veteran southpaw came down with some shoulder issues, and he's going to be delayed to start spring training. That also means he will not be ready for the start of the regular season. Hamels inked for 1 year, $18 million on the premise that despite being 36 years of age, he would continue to deliver strong innings and help buttress that Atlanta rotation. Hamels, of course, has almost always been durable and reliable. He did have a few health issues last year, including some shoulder problems late in the season. The Braves obviously have quite a few young arms, but they signed Hamels to be a rock in the middle of that rotation. This does seem to open the door quite widely for veteran righty Felix Hernandez to make the roster if he can show well in camp. We also saw a few notable homecomings yesterday. Righty Taijuan Walker, who broke in with the Mariners, was once a top prospect there before being traded away to the Diamondbacks. He's back in Seattle after signing a 1 year, $2 million deal. Walker is looking to get into that rotation and get his career back on track. He missed almost all of the 2019 season after undergoing Tommy John surgery. Did make it back late, but didn't show well enough for the Diamondbacks to tender him a contract in his final year of arbitration eligibility. Now, Walker has never quite lived up to the top prospect billing he had in Seattle, but he was quite a good pitcher in 2017 and has been effective before, so it's a nice buy low opportunity here for the M's. Also going back to where things got started, Cameron Maybin is heading back to the Tigers for the third time. The veteran outfielder is coming off of his best ever offensive season, a surprising breakout campaign with the Yankees, so he'll head to Detroit, help fill out a really thin outfield mix, and could end up on the move in the middle of the season if he plays well and if the Tigers, as expected, falter. Another small but still notable deal, Brad Miller, the left-handed hitting infielder, outfielder, play anywhere but maybe not so well, big slugging despite his relatively diminutive stature. That Brad Miller, $2 million to go to the Cardinals. He's going to play all over the field in St. Louis. Even if he doesn't do so particularly well, he's going to give that club a nice big left-handed bat. With the 26th roster spot, a guy like this fits rather easily. Miller at times has shown great ability to get on base, great pop. He's rarely put it all together, but he actually had a strong 2019 season and does look to be a nice value at that price. And finally, at that exact same price point of $2 million, Jarrod Dyson heading to the Pittsburgh Pirates on a 1 year deal. Dyson is going to help fill in for the loss of Starling Marte, who headed to Arizona in a trade. Dyson is not quite as good as he once was, but it's not because he's lost his legs. The guy is still a burner on the bases. He still covers a ton of ground in center field. Those skills are still very obvious. The issues have come in the hitting department. Dyson has struggled at the plate. He's not hitting the ball on the ground as much, which for some hitters translates to power. For Dyson, it has meant a lower batting average, a lower on-base percentage, and not so much in the power department. You wonder if he might rework some things to maximize his abilities. He could definitely be an intriguing midseason trade candidate. He's definitely the type of player that teams that are contending will look to add down the stretch. Having covered those relatively minor signings, this is also about the time of year you might have expected to see a deal of that kind come together for a guy like Ben Zobrist. But all indications are that the veteran utility man is going to hang up his spikes. It's been a great run for Zobrist, who put up about 45 wins above replacement over his career. Quiet slugger at his height, had a lot of great seasons and contributed to 2 World Series winning outfits. Now, having a guy like Zobrist around allowed his teams to move him around the field and increase the ability to carry other players that contributed to the roster's flexibility. That's not going to be quite as important now thanks to a new rule change. We are going from 25 to 26-man rosters, and that is going to give teams an entire extra player to work with. It could be a speedy guy like Dyson. It could be an extra reliever. It could be a bench bat. A lot of different options to work with for teams, and they're going to have more opportunities to mix and match. At the same time, there's also a rule that's going to require that any relief pitcher come in and face at least 3 batters, except in cases of injury or when an inning ends. That is going to make it much harder to play matchup. The idea, of course, is to reduce the time of games. Whether that has that effect or not remains to be seen. There are also changes to the way that September baseball rosters are constructed. There will be a cap and a requirement on the number of players instead of a free-for-all. There will be limits on the number of pitchers that can be carried in September, which will have that same effect. And there are quite a few other interesting minor rule changes that will have impacts throughout the season. I encourage you to head over to MLBTradeRumors.com to read the full story on that. But before you go, please subscribe below.